Pero yung mga yung violent na insidente sa buhay mo, hindi mo pwede makalimutan yan.
Hindi ko makalimutan.
Habang ikaw ay umiilan.
Oo.
So, kahit pa paano, meron kang sarili pa umaraan para ma-record mo yan.
Video ito na magpunta ni Edgar Matobato sa tanggapan ng NBI noong September 4, 2014. Ayon kay Matobato, sa pagdinig sa Senado, nagbigay siya noon ng salaysay sa NBI bago makapasok sa Witness Protection Program. Batay sa video ng NBI, 4 na oras nilahad ni Matobato ang umano'y pamubugbog sa kanya ng ilang Davao Police habang pinaamin daw na sakot siya sa pagpatay sa bilyonaryong si Richard King. Dito rin daw niya binanggit ang pagkakasangkot niya sa grupong DDS o Davao Death Squad.
And these photographs will show his voluntariness in giving the statement.
Si Atty. Joel Tavera raw ang kumuha ng pahayag ni Matobato. Napanood daw niya ang mga pagdinig sa Senado at nakita niyang may mga pagkakaiba raw sa mga pahayag ni Matobato.
Merong deviation or inconsistency yung kanyang testimony dun sa unang hearing vis-a-vis his testimony with the NBI. As to the truthfulness, as to the veracity of all his claims there, very low ang credibility.
Halimbawa, sa Senado raw, sinabing ang isa sa biktimang si Sally Macdum ay binikti raw nila, pero sa affidavit, ginilitan daw. 3,000 piso daw ang sinabing sweldo ni Matobato sa mga senador. Sa affidavit niya sa NBI, 6,000 piso. Grade 1 lang daw ang inabot ni Matobato, sabi niya sa Senado, pero sa NBI, umabot daw siya ng grade 3. Sinabi rin niya sa Senado na may sinurrender siyang lubid na ginagamit niya sa pamatay, pero ito ang tinan-over niya sa NBI.
I just don't know kung ito ay lubid or how do you describe it?
Wire.
Or wire. You need not be an elementary graduate to classify a lubid from a wire.
Gusto raw sana ng NBI na isama si Matobato sa Davao para makakuha ng ebidensya ukol sa Davao Death Squad. Pero bukod daw sa ayaw ni Matobato, hindi raw sila binigyan ng basbas ni nooy Secretary Laila de Lima.
Hindi kami makausad. Unang-una, how do we now validate the statement of Matobato?
Ulat naman ng Anti-Money Laundering Council o AMLAC kaugnay sa mga bank account ng di umano'y pinaglagyan ng mga drug money ni Senadora Laila de Lima. Hawak na ng NBI at DOJ. Ang ulat mula kay Ria Fernandez via phone patch.
Kirby, nakatanggap na ang Department of Justice at National Bureau of Investigation ng kopya ng ulat ng Anti-Money Laundering Council o AMLAC ukol sa mga bank account na naglagyan di umano ng drug money ni Senadora Laila de Lima. Hindi pa maisa publiko ni Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II ang buong detalye ng AMLAC report, pero anya makikroon ang tinatayang 20 bank account na nasa ilalim ng pangalan ng mga individual na di umano'y may malapit na ugnayan kay de Lima. Dahil din ang bank transactions at halos 500 milyong pisong deposito na pinaniniwala ang galing sa kalakalan ng illegal na droga. Inaasahan na umano nila na hindi gagamitin ni de Lima ang sariling pangalan sa naturang mga bank account. Sinabi ni Aguirre na gagamitin din nilang ebidensyang AMLAC report laban kay de Lima kasama ang mga testimonya ng mga tumestigong high-profile inmates sa pagdinig ng Kamara ukol sa pamamedpa ng illegal na droga sa loob ng bilibid. Ang NBI na umano ang tututok sa paghahain ng kaso laban sa mambabatas. Itinanggi naman ni de Lima na may dami account siya. Samantala, Kirby, tinawag na kalokohan ni Aguirre ang pahayag ni de Lima na isang government asset si J.D. Sebastian kaya inihiwalay ito sa bilibid 19. Mula sa DOJ, ako si Ria Fernandez para sa PTV News.
Maraming salamat, Ria Fernandez.
Nanawagan si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa kanyang mga taga-suporta na huwag pagbantaan ang mga miyembro ng media. Sa kanyang talumpati kahapon sa Cagayan de Oro, sinabi niyang nakarating sa kanya ang mga ulat na binira at tinakot di mano ng kanyang mga taga-suporta ang ilang miyembro ng international press. Nagpasalamat siya sa suportang natatanggap, pero hindi raw dapat takutin ang mga mamamahayag.
I appreciate very much your support and maybe your, how would I say it, enthusiasm to back me up. You are correct. I am not doing nothing wrong. I agree with you, but of course, we should not
also threaten people because hindi na sila makapagsulat ng totoo.
May mga pagkakaiba raw ang mga naunang pahayag ni Edgar Matubato sa NBI o sa National Bureau of Investigation noong taong 2014 sa mga inilahad niya kamakailan sa Senado. Tingin ng ilang senador ang paiba-ibang pahayag ni Matubato ang gumigiba sa kanyang kredibilidad. Samantala, isang retired judge naman ang nagsampa ng reklamong frustrated murder laban kay Matubato. May report si John Consulta.
Pasusumula. Pero yung mga niyang violent na insidente sa buhay mo, hindi mo pwede makalimutan na.
Hindi ko
Habang ikaw ay umihigad. So, kahit pa paano, meron kang sarili pamamaraan para ma-record mo yan.
Video ito na magpunta ni Edgar Matubato sa tanggapan ng NBI noong September 4, 2014. Ayon kay Matubato, sa pagdinig sa Senado, nagbigay siya noon ng salaysay sa NBI bago makapasok sa Witness Protection Program. Batay sa video ng NBI, 4 na oras nilahad ni Matubato ang umano'y pamumugbog sa kanya ng ilang Davao Police habang pinaamin daw na sakot siya sa pagpatay sa bilyonaryong si Richard King. Dito rin daw niya binanggit ang pagkakasangkot niya sa grupong DDS o Davao Death Squad.
And these photographs will show his voluntariness in giving the statement.
Si Atty. Joel Tavera raw ang kumuha ng pahayag ni Matubato. Napanood daw niya ang mga pagdinig sa Senado at nakita niyang may mga pagkakaiba raw sa mga pahayag ni Matubato.
Merong deviation or inconsistency yung kanyang testimony dun sa unang hearing vis-a-vis his testimony with the NBI. As to the truthfulness, as to the veracity of all his claims there, very low ang credibility.
Halimbawa, sa Senado raw, sinabing ang isa sa biktimang si Sally Macdum ay binikti raw nila pero sa affidavit, giniritan daw. 3,000 piso daw ang sinabing sweldo ni Matubato sa mga senador. Sa affidavit niya sa NBI, 6,000 piso. Grade 1 lang daw ang inabot ni Matubato, sabi niya sa Senado, pero sa NBI, umabot daw siya ng grade 3. Sinabi rin niya sa Senado na may sinurrender siyang lubid na ginagamit niya sa pampatay, pero ito ang tinan-over niya sa NBI.
I just don't know kung ito ay lubid or how do you describe it?
Wire.
Or wire. You need not be an elementary graduate to classify a lubid from a wire.
Gusto raw sana ng NBI na isama si Matubato sa Davao para makakuha ng ebidensya ukol sa Davao Death Squad. Pero bukod daw sa ayaw ni Matubato, hindi raw sila binigyan ng basbas ni nooy Secretary Laila de Lima.
Hindi kami makausad. Unang-una, how do we now validate the statement of Matubato?
Sabi ni Judges Committee Chairman Senator Richard Gordon, ang mga pabago-bagong sinasabi ni Matubato ang gumigiba sa kanyang kredibilidad.
He was faltering, he was changing stories, and everything that he was saying about Mayor Duterte at the time was hearsay. Sabi niya ganito, sabi nito ganon. Not his own personal knowledge. These are fatal attacks on his integrity and his credibility.
Sagot dyan ni Senator Antonio Trillanes,
both the inability to understand the question and the inability to articulate himself. Tapos, yung at the same time, talagang intentionally, deliberately, gusto siyang isahan, gusto siyang utakan ng mga nagtatanong. Hindi naman fair yun. Ang sa akin dito, tignan natin doon sa mga substantive claims niya.
sa susunod na linggo, magpapatuloy ang Senate investigation kung saan ipinatawag ang mga pulis na tinukoy ni Matubato na miyembro umano ng Davao Death Squad. Bukod sa pagkwestiyon sa kredibilidad niya bilang testigo sa Senado, naharap naman si Matubato sa reklamong frustrated murder na isinampan ni Attorney Abeto Salcedo Jr. Sa salaysay ni Salcedo, namukhaan raw niya si Matubato nang mapanood niya sa pagdinig sa Senado. Sigurado raw siyang si Matubato ang bumaril sa kanya noong Oktubre ng taong 2014. Nagtama raw siya ng 6 na tama ng bala na muntik na raw niyang ikamatay. Dating judge ng Department of Agrarian Reform Adjudication Board o DARAB si Salcedo. At paniwala niya, posibleng may kinalaman dito ang tangkang pagpatay sa kanya. John Consulta, GMA News.
Inatasan na ng DOJ o ng Department of Justice ang NBI o ang National Bureau of Investigation na imbestigahan ang di manoy kaugnayan ni Senator Laila de Lima sa droga sa Bilibid. Aminado si Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre na wala pa silang direktang ebidensyang nag-uugnay sa senadora. Ipinasilip na rin ng DOJ sa AMLAC o sa Anti-Money Laundering Council ang 10 bank accounts daw ng ilang taong malapit kay De Lima. Nanindigan naman si De Lima na wala siyang dummy account. May report si Lia Manyalak del Castillo.
Hindi pa man tapos ang investigasyon ng Senado at Kamara, may panibagong hahabol ngayon kay dating Justice Secretary at ngayon Senadora Laila De Lima. Ang National Bureau of Investigation ang ahensyang dating nasa ilalim niya. Inutusan na kasi ni Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre ang NBI na imbestigahan ang kaugnayan umano ni De Lima sa umano'y drug trade sa loob ng Bilibid.
Mas magaling ang NBI dyan kaysa sa amin. And we have no people to pursue these leads. There's lalong-lalo na yung pag-unearth nitong mga bank accounts at saka ng mga corporations that might be linked to this illegal drug trade.
Sa ngayon, hawak na ng DOJ ang report ng Anti-Money Laundering Council o AMLAC na sumisilip sa mahigit 10 bank account ng ilang taong malapit daw kay De Lima. Hindi sila pinangalanan ni Aguirre pero ilan daw ay malalapit na kaibigan, kasama at dating katrabaho. Pero ngayon pa lang, aminado si Aguirre, wala pa silang direktang ebidensya na nag-uugnay sa senadora.
Hindi maaaring directly linked kasi kung directly, dapat naka-deposit yan sa kanyang account. Kaya kung ever there's any link, it should be indirect. Doon lang sa account, bank accounts ng kanyang mga kasama, mga kaibigan, mga employee, yun lamang.
Ginamit niyang halimbawa ang dating driver at umano'y karelasyon ni De Lima na si Ronnie Dayan.
Halimbawa, 500 million sa account ni Ronnie Dayan. Alam naman natin na hindi walang sapat na source of income si Ronnie Dayan para makaipon ng 500 milyon. So anong konklusyon mo dyan? Sasabihin natin, siyempre, ang konklusyon ng tao doon, konklusyon ng judge, nanggaling yan sa bossing niya.
Pero yung account ni Sec De Lima, I'm sure pina-check niyo rin sa AMLAC. May mga nakita ba rin doon na questionable mga deposits na pumasok?
No comment.
Sa isang pahayag, sinabi ni De Lima, wala siyang mga dummy account. Ang mga makakalap na ebidensya ng NBI, bukod sa magagamit sa posibleng kaso laban kay De Lima, pwede rin daw gamitin para humiling ng freeze order sa mga pinaiimbestigahang bank account. Ayaw pa isa publiko ni Aguirre ang hawak na AMLAC report, pero sapat daw ito kasama ang mga naunang testimonya ng mga inmate ng Bilibid para madiin daw at makasuhan na si De Lima.
On the basis of the testimony ng presenta naming mga testigo sa House ay sufficient na meron ng probable cause. In other words, papasa na sa piskalya pa lang. Pero tulad ng sinabi ko, hindi ako komportable doon. Ang gusto ko talagang airtight.
Pero hindi lang daw kay De Lima nagtatapos ang koneksyon sa umano'y transaksyon ng illegal na droga sa loob ng New Bilibid prisons. Sa impormasyong nakuha ni Aguirre, lumalabas na may ilang korporasyon pa raw na tila dawit din dito.
Makikita mo yung link na yan. Kung yung mga isang corporation ay yung mga kanilang mga incorporators or stockholders ay lumalabas tong pangalan to, ay ito, kaibigan pala ito, gano'n. So, magkakaroon ng lead dyan.
Sabi rin ni Aguirre, maging ang itinuturong kasabwat di umano ni De Lima na ang big-time Bilibid inmate na si JV Sebastian, posibleng lumutang na rin.
Tatanungin namin si JV Sebastian kung papayag siyang pumunta dun sa house. Hindi naman ako nagkumbinse.
Para naman kay De Lima, lahat ng ito ay bahagi lang daw ng layunin ng Pangulo para sirain siya at tanggalin siya sa pwesto.
Ito ho ay continuation lang ho ng mga efforts nila na tuluyan at akong matapos, tuluyan at akong masira. At ang ibig sabihin nun, mawala ako dyan sa eksena, mawala ako dyan sa pwesto ko. Baka yan nga ho ang isa sa mga pinaka-agenda, isa sa mga pinaka-layunin ng Pangulo natin. Kasi ilang beses na ho natin siya na napakinggan na talagang he will destroy me. Na isang press con, sinabi niya, you're finished. Napaka-lopsided ho. Imagine the entire machinery of the executive department. Tapos nalulungkot din po ako na maski sa Kongreso ay parang tumutulong na rin sila dyan sa panggigipit sa akin.
Lia Manyalak del Castillo, GMA News.
Sa ibang balita, inutusan na po ng Department of Justice ang National Bureau of Investigation para imbestigahan na ang umunoy kaugnayan ni Senadora Laila De Lima sa sinasabing drug trade sa Bilibid. Sinisilip na rin ang mga bank account ng ilang tao na malapit kay De Lima na posibleng pinagdepositohan umano ng drug money. At nakatutok si Lia Manyalak del Castillo.
Hindi pa man tapos ang investigasyon ng Senado at Kamara, may panibagong hahabol ngayon kay dating Justice Secretary at ngayon Senadora Laila de Lima. Ang National Bureau of Investigation ang ahensyang dating nasa ilalim niya. Inutusan na kasi ni Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre ang NBI na imbestigahan ang kaugnayan umano ni de Lima sa umano'y drug trade sa loob ng Bilibid.
Mas magaling ang NBI dyan kaysa sa amin. And we have no people to pursue these leads. There's lalong-lalo na yung pag-unearth nitong mga bank accounts at saka ng mga corporations that might be linked to this illegal drug trade.
Sa ngayon, hawak na ng DOJ ang report ng Anti-Money Laundering Council o AMLAC na sumisilip sa mahigit 10 bank account ng ilang taong malapit daw kay de Lima. Hindi sila pinangalanan ni Aguirre pero ilan daw ay malalapit na kaibigan, kasama at dating katrabaho. Pero ngayon pa lang, aminado si Aguirre, wala pa silang direktang ebidensya na nag-uugnay sa senadora.
Hindi maaaring directly link kasi kung directly, dapat naka-deposit yan sa kanyang account. Kaya kung ever there's any link, it should be indirect. Doon lang sa account, bank accounts ng kanyang mga kasama, mga kaibigan, mga employee, yun lamang.
Ginamit niyang halimbawa ang dating driver at umano'y karelasyon ni de Lima na si Ronnie Dayan.
Halimbawa, 500 million sa account ni Ronnie Dayan. Alam naman natin na walang sapat na source of income si Ronnie Dayan para makaipon ng 500 milyon. So anong konklusyon mo dyan? Sasabihin natin, siyempre, ang konklusyon ng tao doon, konklusyon ng judge, nanggaling yan sa bossing niya.
Pero yung account ni Sec de Lima, I'm sure pina-check nyo rin sa AMLAC. May mga nakita ba rin doon na questionable mga deposits na pumasok?
No comment.
Sa isang pahayag, sinabi ni de Lima, wala siyang mga dummy account. Ang mga makakalap na ebidensya ng NBI, bukod sa magagamit sa posibleng kaso laban kay de Lima, pwede rin daw gamitin para humiling ng freeze order sa mga pinaiimbestigahang bank account. Ayaw pa isa publiko ni Aguirre ang hawak na AMLAC report, pero sapat daw ito kasama ang mga naunang testimonya ng mga inmate ng Bilibid para madiin daw at makasuhan na si de Lima.
On the basis of the testimony ng pinasenta naming mga testigo sa House ay sufficient na meron ng probable cause. In other words, papasa na sa piskalya pa lang. Pero tulad ng sinabi ko, hindi ako komportable doon. Ang gusto ko talagang airtight.
Pero hindi lang daw kay de Lima nagtatapos ang koneksyon sa umano'y transaksyon ng illegal na droga sa loob ng New Bilibid prisons. Sa impormasyong nakuha ni Aguirre, lumalabas na may ilang korporasyon pa raw na tila dawit din dito.
Makikita mo yung link na yan. Kung yung mga isang corporation ay yung mga kanilang mga incorporators or stockholders ay lumalabas tong pangalan ito, ay ito, kaibigan pala itong gano'n. So, magkakaroon ng lead dyan.
Sabi rin ni Aguirre, maging ang itinuturong kasabwat di umano ni de Lima na ang big-time Bilibid inmate na si JB Sebastian, posibleng lumutang na rin.
Tatanungin namin si JB Sebastian kung papayag siyang pumunta dun sa house. Hindi naman ako nagkumbinse.
Para naman kay de Lima, lahat ng ito ay bahagi lang daw ng layunin ng Pangulo para sirain siya at tanggalin siya sa pwesto.
Ito ho ay continuation lang ho ng mga efforts nila na tuluyan na talaga akong matapos, tuluyan na talaga akong masira. At ang ibig sabihin nun, mawala ako dyan sa eksena, mawala ako dyan sa pwesto ko. Baka yan nga ho ang isa sa mga pinaka-agenda, isa sa mga pinaka-layunin ng Pangulo natin. Kasi ilang beses na ho natin siya na napakinggan na talagang he will destroy me. Na isang press con, sinabi niya, you're finished. Napaka-lopsided ho. Imagine the entire machinery of the executive department. Tapos nalulungkot din po ako na maski sa Kongreso ay parang tumutulong na rin sila dyan sa panggigipit sa akin.
Lia Manyalak del Castillo, nakatutok, 24 oras.
Being 20, ilan? Ilan? 20? There being 28 members present, we now proceed to the next item of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the deferment of the reading of the minutes of the previous committee meeting.
Any second to the motion?
I second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Any objection? There being none, the approval of the minutes of the organizational meeting held last September 7, 2016 is hereby dispensed with. May I request now the committee secretary to please acknowledge the members present and the resource persons and our guests invited for today's hearing. Members present.
The following are members who are present in today's hearing. The Honorables Reynaldo Umali, Harry Roque, Henry Uwaminal, Arnolfo Teves, Arlene Brosas, Robert Ace Barbers, Greg Gasatava, Representatives Josephine Ramirez Sato, Eugene De Vera, Lucy T. Gomez, Antonio Bravo, Abraham Tolentino, Horacio Swansing, Lawrence Fortun, Rani Abo, Alfredo Garbin, Ruel Peter Gonzaga, Fred Castro, Rufi Biazon. Also, Representatives Romeo Acop, Arthur Defensor, Vicente Boso, Celso Lobigat, Ann Hofer, Ferdinand Hernandez, Isagani Zarate, Representatives Lito Atienza, Jerry Trenas, de Terrera, D. Anne-Marie Villaraza Juarez, and also Representative Juliet Ferrer and Representative Sherwin Tugna, and our Majority Leader Rudy Pariñas.
What about the resource persons and our guests, our invited guests who are present? Age. Asan ang page? Yung guest.
Guest natin.
Registered guest. Yung mga hindi pa na
We also recognize the presence of Honorables Isagani Zarate and Ron Salo. We also have Representative Aurelio Dong Gonzalez and Representative Enrico Pineda.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are so sorry that we did not anticipate that this committee hearing will be as big as this. As you may have known, we have silence please. We have set this in rooms 1 and 2 of the Mitra building, but then there was a request because we somewhat anticipated that the crowd will be bigger, but then we did not expect that this will be this big. So I have already talked to Attorney Arlene Dada, Deputy Sec Gen of the House of Representatives, if we can find a bigger room that will accommodate all of us in the succeeding hearings that we will conduct. Of course, for your information, this committee hearing we will try to extend it as far as practicable, and we will also hold another committee hearing tomorrow because we had to do this because plenary budget deliberations will start on the 26th. So this was the reason why we had to lump all of the three legislative measures in this hearing so that we can really act with dispatch on urgent matters, most especially that the President himself had already called the attention of Congress to hasten the hearings, especially on the death penalty bill, restoration bill, and the lowering of juvenile age, and of course this much awaited resolution 105 that we will also cover in today's hearing. Meron na ba? So while we await, so can I request now the COMSEC to please acknowledge the invited guests and resource persons present.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Deputy Speaker.
I appreciate the statement of the Chairman that indeed in this room we are crowded. But I think being crowded is not a problem. All that we have to do is to request silence and order among all those who are around so that the proceeding may proceed smoothly, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that reminder, Deputy Speaker, and that manifestation is well noted. So we request everyone to please observe silence, and we request everyone to act in accordance with how we will be able to dispense with the measures at hand promptly and effectively. So let me enjoin everyone to please observe silence and the proper decorum. Thank you. May I request the committee secretary to acknowledge the invited guests and resource person.
We would like to acknowledge the presence of our guests and resource persons. Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II, the DOJ Secretary. Chief Public Attorney, Attorney Persida R. Acosta. Solicitor General Jose Caguiwa. Assistant Solicitor General Rex Pascual.
Excuse me, it's Kalida, not Kagiwa.
Kalida, sorry po. Kalida. Assistant Solicitor General Rex Pascual. Police Chief Superintendent Nestor Kensaha. Kensay Jr. Police Chief Superintendent Augusto Marquez Jr. Police Chief Superintendent Benjamin Luzad. From PNP, Mr. Benjamin Magalong. Attorney Roselyn Borja from PIDEA. Director Wilkins Villanueva, also from PIDEA. Attorney Karina Aquino, also from PIDEA. Attorney De Los Santos from Department of Justice. Attorney Eric Balmes from the Department of Justice. Attorney Enan Orco from the Department of Justice. Attorney Antonio Co from the Department of Justice. Attorney Raymond Mecate from the Department of Justice. Mr. Juvencio Ablen Jr. from the National Bureau of Investigation. And Mr. Rafael Ragos, also from the National Bureau of Investigations.
COMSEC, I did not hear the names of the director of NBI, is he here? Geran, Superintendent Rabo, nandyan ba?
Yes, sir.
Nandyan. Chief PNP Ronald De La Rosa?
Sir, wala pa po dito sa ating
They might be represented by General Madara.
Yusek La Peña of PIDEA? Nandyan? Center din. Si Special Action Force? Busan? Wala rin? Nandyan? IBP President, is he here? No representative from IBP. VACC. Boy Evangelista, is he around?
Yes, sir. He's there. He just arrived.
Ganun ba? Can we still accommodate him in the table? Paki-check lang. Benjamin Reyes of DDB. Okay. So anyway, let me just remind those invited guests that that invitation is addressed to the heads of offices, and we feel that it is important that their personal presence is here. But of course, for today's hearing, we will dispense with their presence. They may have many other matters to attend to, but I would just like to stress the importance of this hearing, as may be shown by the many people, including the media that are around. This seems to be a matter that ought to be in the priority of the different heads of agencies invited. So, having said that, I'd like to bid everyone a pleasant morning. The President has overwhelmingly won on a platform of anti-criminality, anti-corruption, and anti-drugs. The President walked his talk as he vigorously pursued his campaign promises to the point of now being confronted with issues such as the extrajudicial killing. Interestingly, majority of the people seem apathetic to this issue, presumably because of the breakdown in the criminal justice system or people's lack of confidence thereto. People are so afraid to even testify for fear that police or investigators or even prosecutors and judges will bungle their jobs. Worse, people will now become more fearful because their perception that justice has been served is breached by mismanagement or even corruption in the penitentiary. No wonder convicted felons feel at home in the penitentiary because they can continue their trade therein and even live luxurious lifestyles. Taking the cue therefrom, the Justice Committee of the 17th Congress aims to be more relevant and responsive to the President's call and the Speaker's directive to pursue a holistic policy reform agenda towards regaining the people's trust and confidence on the criminal justice system. To this end, we have restructured and empowered the subcommittees to pursue the needed reforms. And I'd like to give a rundown of the subcommittees and their chairpersons that we have activated. First is the Subcommittee on Investigation and Enforcement Reforms, and this will be chaired by Vice Chairman Representative Strike Revilla. So we hope that all of the reforms needed to address all the lapses in the conduct of the enforcement and or even investigation will be covered by the subcommittee. Second is the subcommittee on prosecutorial reform to be chaired by Representative Paulino Salvador Doy Liachon. And the vice chairman here will chair it, and we expect that all reforms needed in the prosecution service will be addressed by this subcommittee. Then comes judicial reform. Subcommittee on judicial reform that will be chaired by Vice Chairman Representative Vicente Ching Veloso, a former justice of the Court of Appeals, to handle all reforms needed in the judiciary and the performance of these judicial functions. And then likewise, we will cover, as we are in fact covering in this committee hearing, the needed reforms in the correctional pillar of the criminal justice system. So a subcommittee on correctional reform to be headed by Vice Chairman Henry O. Aminal to handle all sorts of reforms needed in the Bureau of Prison and all other penitentiaries and jails that we have in this country. Of course, we have our fifth Vice Chairman, Representative Arnulfo Noli Puentebella, who will also chair the Subcommittee on Immigration, Deportation, and Naturalization. So under the rules, members of the committee may choose which subcommittee they wish to be part of, provided that a member may be a member of only one subcommittee. I would like to request that those who wish to be members of a subcommittee to inform the committee secretary, subject to equitable distribution of membership. My intention is to activate all of these subcommittees so as not to lose time in hearing measures that are vital to the reforms mentioned. Now, for part one of today's committee hearing, there are two such measures that require our immediate attention, since they are priority measures mentioned by the President no less during his SONA and by the Speaker during the opening of the first regular session. These are: one, the restoration of the death penalty for heinous crimes, and two, the lowering of the minimum age of criminal responsibility. There are currently 7 House bills on restoring the death penalty and 4 bills on lowering the minimum age of criminal responsibility. Likewise, I have a letter from Honorable Kakabagao, who wishes that her House Resolution 241, entitled a resolution directing the Congressional Committee on the Welfare of Children to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the effectiveness of Republic Act 9344 as amended by Republic Act 10630, otherwise known as the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act, and its impact on children if the minimum age of criminal responsibility is lowered, to be covered by this particular hearing. At any rate, we will just give a brief moment for the sponsor or sponsors of this bill to introduce the subject, and what we will do thereafter is just download it or refer it to the respective subcommittees so that we can now proceed with the awaited hearing on House Resolution 105, which was filed on July 21, 2016, and this is authored by represented the Speaker, Bebot Alvarez, the Majority Floor Leader, Rudy Fariñas, our Deputy Speaker, Rani Abu, Congressman Duavit, Acop, Nograles, Suarez, Treñas, Tolentino, Liachon, and Martinez. So, having said that,
Mr. Chairman,
please, Your Honor.
I move that with respect to paragraphs A and B of Roman numeral number 4, the explanatory notes of the bills will be considered already as the sponsorship speech, so that we refer them to the proper subcommittee already.
Second. Thank you. It has been moved and seconded, so there being no objection, the same House Bill numbers 116, 513, 3237, 3239, 3240, and 3418 is hereby referred to the subcommittee on judicial reform. While House Bills numbers 2, 505, 1609, and 209 is hereby referred to the two subcommittees on prosecutorial reform and correctional reform. So you are hereby directed to immediately carry out the mandate of your subcommittees so that you can report it out to the mother committee for appropriate disposition.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair. A point of
yes, Your
inquiry
Honor.
lang po. Mr. Chair, this representation delivered a privileged speech on August 2, putting on record the position of Gabriela Women's Party, as well as the position of different children's organizations opposing the lowering of the minimum age of criminal responsibility of children. I believe that my speech has been referred to the Committee on Rules and to the Committee on Justice last September 6, 2016. I would like to know if it can be included, since you said that it will be referred to the subcommittee. I would like to express my, I would like to put forward my intent to be a part of this subcommittee, because I am not, I'm still not a member of the Committee on Justice. I would also like to put forward my intent to be a member of the Committee on Justice.
Okay, so the committee takes note of that. I hereby request the COMSEC to please validate whether this privilege, is it a resolution or privilege? A privilege speech has been referred by the Committee on Rules to the Committee on Justice, and we still have vacant membership positions. You might wish to at the proper time make representations with the leadership for your membership to this committee and this subcommittee.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please, Deputy Speaker.
From the explanation of the chair, there being other measures with similar subject matter as House Bill number 1, that is the reimposition of death penalty. May I therefore move that all these bills be consolidated and House Bill number 1 be the surviving bill. I move, Mr. Chairman.
I hereby direct the subcommittee on judicial reform to please look into this matter for appropriate disposition. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, similar motion insofar as House Bill number 2 and other pending measures with similar subject matter that they be consolidated into one, and House Bill number 2 be the surviving bill.
Same directive to the subcommittee on prosecutorial and correctional reform to take note of this and submit to the mother committee your action thereto. Let me just give a brief remark on this. As we now proceed to tackle resolution calling for an investigation in aid of legislation on the proliferation of drug syndicates at the National Bureau of Prison. For the record, 3 weeks ago, much as we wanted to conduct an inquiry into this issue, we could not do so because the committee has not yet been fully organized. At that time, we only have, I think, about 12 members and 2 vice chair. And likewise, the rules of procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation has not yet been published. Neither can we now postpone it for a later date because of the plenary budget hearing. So we deemed it appropriate to hear this today and tomorrow, and depending on the directive and the needs of continuously hearing on this, then we will ask the leadership if we can pursue this until we fully cover. Minded that we only have about, I think, 2 months under the rules to be able to fully dispose of this particular issue. So anyway, let me just point out also that, again, this is not about Senator Laila de Lima, who is my sister in her sorority, Lambda Rho Sigma, and this is really about the issue on the proliferation of drug syndicates in the NBP, and I would just like to disabuse the mind of my sis that this is a sham hearing and this is a kangaroo committee that is being conducted here. So, but anyway, having said that, what we need to establish are the facts needed to enable Congress to effectively perform its mandate. I do recall having been vice chair of the Committee on Justice in the last 2 Congresses, that we did conduct some investigation. But the trouble is, while we did some investigation, the problem persisted and probably was even aggravated. So these are the things now that we would want to put a closure on by this committee, and we want to do it as holistically as possible, covering not only the correctional aspect of the criminal justice system, but the 3 other pillars, so that the 5th pillar, and that is the community, will regain trust and confidence in the criminal justice system. Our goal is to come up with a report containing the findings of our investigation. This report will also contain our recommendations based on our findings, which will take either one of 3 forms or all of 3. A new legislation, a remedial or a mandatory legislation, or a directive to the appropriate agency to issue the necessary administrative regulations as part of our oversight functions in Congress. With this in mind, I hope that we can conduct this investigation in an orderly fashion, and I enjoin all members to please observe the proper decorum as honorable gentlemen as we are, that we avoid going to issues on personality, but stick to the issues at hand. I understand that we have witnesses with testimonies that would help us determine the cause of the problem of proliferation of drugs and drug syndicates in the New Bilibid prison, and who among the responsible government officials before and even today are culpable through direct participation or through or gross inexcusable negligence in allowing these syndicates to proliferate while inside the supposed maximum security compound. The commitment to the NBP of persons convicted by final judgment is supposed to be the final act to the victims of criminality in this country. These convicted persons are supposed to serve their sentence as punishment imposed by on them by the judiciary and be reformed. This is supposed to be the closure for the victims and their families. Unfortunately, the fact that these convicted felons are still able to continue with their illegal activities while incarcerated makes a complete mockery of our criminal justice system. It renders the justice sought by the victims and their families as mere illusions. For how can justice be truly served when the perpetrators themselves are still able to commit crimes with impunity while inside the national penitentiary? This question must be answered in this inquiry, and we must be able to get to the bottom of this issue in order to make sure we put finish to this travesty of justice. So now we would like to request first the Vice Chairman of the Subcommittee on Correctional Reforms to give his opening remarks because this is a matter really that is covered by his subcommittee. Before we proceed to the sponsors of this bill,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. In July this year, just as we formally ushered in a new regime that was elected on a promise to rid our beloved nation of illegal drugs and crime, the House of Representatives, through the evil leadership of Speaker Alvarez and other members, filed a resolution calling for an investigation in aid of legislation on the proliferation of drug syndicates at the National Bilibid Prison. Over the past years, the Filipino people's eyes have been opened to a hard and shameful truth. While rumors abounded that the National Bilibid Prison was a hub where illegal drug trade proliferated, our eyes were fully open when a raid was conducted on December 2014 by then Secretary of Justice, now Senator Laila de Lima. The said raid, which was highly publicized, yielded shabu and other drug paraphernalias, inflatable sex dolls, a stripper bar, and jacuzzi spread across 19 air-conditioned cubicles built for convicted drug dealers. Law enforcement authorities also found in subsequent raids other prohibited items such as firearms and bladed weapons, mobile phones, flat-screen TVs, laptops, Wi-Fi, luxury watches, a sauna, and over 2 million in cash from body searches of several high-profile inmates. In the villa of Peter Co., which was linked by secret pathways to areas around the Bilibid, authorities have also seized documents containing a list of names with corresponding cash amounts and dates involving drug transactions. Meanwhile, in another kubol occupied by robbery gang leader Herbert Colango, police found a music studio where he was reportedly able to produce a music video that went viral on YouTube. According to news reports, more than 30 raids have been conducted between 2014 to 2016. Yet, Despite these raids, the current realities show that the illegal drugs trade discovered in the National Bilibid prison not only continues but actually thrives. Are we to deduce that the illegal drug trade, we should stress, within government property that cellular phones supposedly prohibited and which is the means by which the illegal drug trade is facilitated continue to be confiscated from the inmates. Again, we come down to the crux of this issue. Why were we unable to stop such flagrant defiance of our laws inside a government institution and manned by employees of the government nonetheless? Instead, the situation has become so dire that our Special Action Force troopers, the creme de la creme of our law enforcement units, have been tasked with guarding the NBP. It is in this regard that we have invited today the executive branch, particularly the Secretary of Justice, Honorable Vitaliano Aguirre, under whose jurisdiction the Bureau of Corrections and NBP fall under, along with the heads of other agencies involved in combating illegal drugs, such as the PDEA, one of his representatives of Director General Lapina, who is on official travel, the able, energetic Director of NCR, Director Wilkins Villanueva, who had accomplished in padlocking so many Shabu laboratories recently, and the Philippine National Police, whose PNP chief is represented here by General Magalong, in order to enlighten us on the Duterte's administration efforts to address the issue of proliferation of illegal drugs at the NBP. As the subcommittee's chair in charge of the correctional reforms, I believe this investigation could help us craft legislation that will reform our prison system and ensure that corruption and illegal drug trade are truly weeded out. The House of Representatives, under the leadership of Speaker Alvarez, through this committee, is intent on finding out the truth. Rest assured that we will direct this investigation so that we may be more guided in our legislative actions. We will be taking into account the possible structural, organizational, and cultural weaknesses that allow the occurrence of illegal activities in our correctional institutions. Of particular interest will be whether the time is right to finally proceed with plans to build a new prison facility in Fort Magsaysay in Nueva Ecija. According to the International Center for Prison Studies, ICPS, in 2015, our prison system is the fourth most overcrowded in the world. This committee, during the 16th Congress, upon the initiative of then Senior Vice Chair and now Majority Floor Leader Rodolfo Fariñas, had in fact proposed this mission, and the Department of Justice actually held a bidding for a public-private partnership to undertake this project. We must now ask also the Department of Justice through Secretary Aguirre as to the status of this project. The clamor from our people to thoroughly address the drugs issue has been deafening. As representatives of the people, we are duty-bound to do our part in supporting President Duterte and the government efforts to address this crisis. We now have a man at the helm who has staked his life, honor, and the presidency in order to accomplish the mandate given to him by the people. It is only proper that this august body, through the leadership of our dynamic Speaker Alvarez and the rest of the members of the lower house, lend its hand in furthering the goal of eliminating the threat of illegal drugs and upholding the people's welfare. We are conducting this investigation in our desire to correct this deplorable aberration of our government institutions, being at the mercy of individuals and groups who defy the law with impunity. We do this in our hope that those responsible for the mess we are in today are held accountable and put to justice. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Owaminal. So now we will recognize the author of House Resolution 105, the Honorable Minority Floor Leader, Danny Suarez.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Committee on Justice, Secretary Aguirre, distinguished research person, Your Honors. When I was minority leader during the 15th Congress, I already pointed out during our weekly minority press conferences the pandemic in the making, which is the proliferation of drugs and its allied ill effects to society. It is very unfortunate that the then powers that be took no notice. What is the result of the last 6 years under an administration which was blind to the obvious drug proliferation in our country? According to 2015 data from the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, PDEA, around 1/5 of barangay or villages in the Philippines have drug-related cases. 92% of the barangays in Metro Manila have drug-related cases. And what is painful about this data is that as early as 2012, the United Nations World Drug Report said the Philippines already has the highest rate of shabu use in East Asia. A 2012 study on drug trafficking by the Philippine Center for Transnational Crime echoes this sentiment when it stated that a total of 6,020 barangays in the country are drug-infested. Clearly, Mr. Chairman, we were not lacking in knowledge about the drug problem that early. Mr. Chairman, while a statistician can debate whether there is causality or not between the rise in drug use in the country and the rise in criminality, I think it can be safely concluded that there is indeed a direct correlation between the two. According to the Philippine Statistics Office, the total reported crimes for 2014 was 1,161,188, as compared to 2,017,812 in 2012. In the same time span, index crime rose from 129,161 in 2012 to 492,772 in 2014. In 2014, I was no longer surprised by the news that shocked the whole nation when a raid operation in the New Bilibid prison revealed that drug lords inside the maximum security compound live in a life of luxury. They have, as what mentioned by the Vice Chair, flat screen TVs, jacuzzis, refrigerators, cars, luxury watches, golf carts, electric bikes, musical instruments, and other prohibited contraband. These drug lords had the audacity to operate a nationwide drug syndicate while supposedly serving sentences for their crimes. Mr. Chairman, an operation this brazen could not have happened without the approval of several government high officials. When news broke out regarding the proliferation of drugs and the continued operation of the drug lords inside Bilibid, I was expecting that the House would conduct its inquiry in the matter. However, I'm not aware of any action on the part of the House to address this issue, which is why immediately after the start of the 17th Congress, I sought the help of the House leadership in order to determine the proper course of action.
In line with the current administration drive against illegal drug, which is undeniably, regardless of one's political affiliation, a real menace and a threat to the Filipino people, one of the persons I approach is the current Majority Leader, Rudy Pereñas, and he told me that he would ask for assistance from the current Secretary of Justice to conduct a preliminary investigation on the matter. Given this assurance, we filed House Resolution number 105 entitled Resolution Calling for an Investigation in Aid of Legislation on the Proliferation of Drug Syndicate at the National Bilibid Prison. Through this investigation, I am hopeful that we will be able to address the root of the drug problem inside the Bilibid prison, and we will determine who among the government officials responsible, if any, are involved in the proliferation and trade of illegal drugs. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that. The opening remarks of the Minority Floor Leader is noted and well taken. This is precisely what we intend to do in this committee, to look deeper into this situation besetting the National Bilibid Prison, which probably has been neglected for quite a while. At this juncture, may we now hear from one of the co-authors of this House Resolution number 105, representing the majority. We recognize Congressman Romy Acop, who is also chair of the Committee on Public Order and Security.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the Honorable Chairman of the Committee on Justice, to the honorable members of the committee, my esteemed colleagues, guests, and fellow workers in government, a pleasant good morning. Today, this representation as a primary author has been tasked to deliver a speech before this committee in sponsorship of House Resolution number 105, which seeks an investigation in aid of legislation on the proliferation of drug syndicates at the National Bilibid Prison. This is not an easy task to do, knowing very well the sensitive nature of the subject matter of this investigation. Not only does it concern the problem of illegal drugs that threatens to destroy the very fabric of our society, but it also focuses on the state of affairs and the premier penitentiary in the country, the National Bilibid Prison, as well as on the efforts of the government to rehabilitate and reform our brothers who run afoul with the law and now in incarceration. Frankly, I have concerns that this investigation may unintendedly step on the toes of certain personalities who may be pulling strings or holding money bags in the lucrative trade of illegal drugs in and outside the Bilibid. I am also worried that political sensitivities may be unavoidably touched upon and raise hell among the onion-skinned whose names might be dragged in the course of the investigation. But I am willing to take the chance, if only to stand for the principles that as a public servant believe in, that of pursuing integrity in the service of the people and ensuring a peaceful and drug-free society for our people to live in. I am deeply frustrated by the fact that in a supposedly tightly guarded prison facility, illegal activities like trafficking of illegal drugs, even of women, kidnapping and murders take place. Intelligence then and evidence now reveal that some high-profile inmates remain to be the central figures in the illegal drug trade, even while imprisoned. They allegedly, as what this investigation now aims to determine, collude with law enforcement officers, prison authorities, and government personnel who are reported to be in their payroll. Their network appears to be well entrenched and has become a business empire with headquarters at the National Bilibid Prison. This investigation is about cleansing the principal penitentiary in the country of all the evils of drug trafficking inside the facility, which threaten the well-being not only of the inmates, but of all drug dependents who astonishingly derive their supply from the operations of drug syndicates conveniently nestled inside the National Bilibid prison. It is about calling to task the men and officers of the Bureau of Corrections for their failures in the administration of the facility that have aggravated the drug menace inside the prison and have put to doubt the efficiency and effectiveness of the government's inmate rehabilitation and reformation programs. It is time to call a spade and identify these erring custodial officials and officers who are in cahoots with the drug lords inside the prison facility who are making a kill in their profits from the illegal drug trade. It is payback time. It is time to put a new human face to the ill-reputed National Bilibid prison. I have strong faith in the able leadership of the chairman of this committee and its members that the investigation will be conducted in the spirit of utmost objectivity, fairness, and with due regard to the rule of law. At the end of the day, our common objectives remain the same: to ferret out the truth, to eliminate the drug menace in the country, and to restore the people's trust to our government. These goals we hope to attain by coming up with a proposed remedial legislation as a result of this investigation. May divine providence guide us in this endeavor. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Honorable Acop. Thank you, distinguished authors of House Resolution 105. I know that many of the members would like to say something before we even proceed, but the chair feels that to provide everyone a better perspective of this situation that we are now investigating, it would be much better if the Secretary of Justice, who has conducted an investigation into the matter, would be able to provide us a comprehensive report of what they have done so far, their findings, and what the recommendations will be for the consideration of this committee. But in the meanwhile, and pursuant to rules on legislative inquiries, we will have to request all of the resource persons who will give their testimonies before this committee to take their oath, and I hereby direct the COMSEC to please administer the oath of all those resource persons. May we request those who will enlighten this committee of on the matter to please rise and for the administration of their oath.
Please raise your right hand and follow me. I, please state your name, swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you, COMSEC, and thank you, distinguished guest. So we now give the floor to the Honorable Secretary of Justice, Vit Aguirre.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. To all our deputy speakers present, to the chairperson of the Committee on Justice, Honorable Reynaldo Umali, to the chairperson of the Committee on Public Order, Honorable Romeo Acop, to the chairperson of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, Honorable Robert Ace Barbers, Majority Floor Leader Rudy Pareñas, Minority Floor Leader Congressman Danny Suarez, Vice Chairman Henry Waminal, distinguished members of the August committees comprising this joint investigation,
distinguished members of the House of Representatives, POW Chief Presidio Acosta, the USEC of the Department of Justice, members of the media, both local and international, to all resource persons, a blessed and drug-free morning to all. Before anything else, I wish to reiterate that the Department of Justice fully supports President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. We fully commit ourselves to the eradication of this menace to our children, our family, and our country. We wish to reassure the public and the honorable members of our distinguished committees that those who are responsible for the drug trade in this country, once apprehended, will find nothing but prosecution and punishment under our laws. One area of utmost concern for everyone is the proliferation and escalation of drug trade in the National Penitentiary. It is most unfortunate that convicted felons who are supposed to be punished and reformed have thrived by drug entrepreneurs and drug businessmen. Why this happened, how it happened, is the reason why we are here. We have to get to the bottom of this. We all want the truth. Drugs have caused deaths. It has destroyed families. It has shattered dreams, and it will continue to menace our people if we do not stop it. It has to stop. We have to stop it. The proliferation of the drug trade in Bilibid will not have happened if the persons in charge and those in authority did their jobs and properly discharge their sworn duties. Apparently, the drug trade in Bilibid had a consent and was condoned by these people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have prepared a list of 30 resource persons who will help us all to establish why, the how, the where, the when, and most importantly, the who and how much on the proliferation of these prohibited drugs in our prisons. The Filipino people deserves the truth. We are confident that the truth will come out. The purpose of today's hearing, I will present to the committee the video interview of J.B. Sebastian. The video showing the kubul of Peter Co. and other videos. Further, I will show the committee the ingenious ways our inmates in hiding their communication devices. Further, the resource persons will shed light on the participation of the highest official of the Department of Justice at that time in the proliferation of illegal drugs inside the new Bilibid prison. The nature and tenor of the testimonies of the resource persons are as follows. We will present Rafael Z. Ragos, who was once the OIC Bureau Director and who is still an employee and an officer of the NBI. He will testify that sometime in 2012, he found a black bag containing money on his bed at the Bucor Director's quarters. He received a call instructing him to deliver the black handbag containing limang manok, or in the Bilibid language, or 5 million to Mr. Ronnie Dayan. He and June Ablen delivered the money to Mr. Dayan and DOJ Secretary de Lima at her house in South Bay Village, Parañaque. Mr. Ragos will also testify that on December 12, 2012, he found money on his bed at the Bucor Director's quarter. He then received a call to deliver the money to Mr. Dayan, just like the first time, and he delivered the money to the house of Secretary de Lima. This is another 5 million pesos. Herbert Culanco, he will testify among others that he was ordered by J.B. Sebastian to sell drugs. Also, Mr. Culanco will testify that Jonel Sanchez asked him to sell drugs for the plan of then DOJ Secretary de Lima. Mr. Culanco paid payola to DOJ Secretary and Director of Bucor amounting to 3 million pesos per month, and to the Director of Bucor 1.2 million pesos per month.
Rodolfo Magleo, a former major of the PNP, will testify that J.B. Sebastian told him that several drug lords and non-conforming inmates will be removed from the maximum security compounds so he could monopolize the drug trade inside the compound. He will testify that J.B. Sebastian paid millions to the DOJ Secretary de Lima and Director Bucayo, and that J.B. Sebastian is one of the financiers of the DOJ Secretary de Lima for the latter's senatorial campaign. He will also testify that J.B. Sebastian told him that he paid the DOJ Secretary de Lima 10 million pesos for the transfer of Bilibid 19 and an additional 1 million pesos per month. We will present Noel Martinez. He will testify that sometime in January 2013, and the other leaders of gangs were introduced by DOJ Secretary de Lima, by J.B. Sebastian. He will also testify that sometime February 2013, J.B. Sebastian informed him that DOJ Secretary de Lima needed funds for her plan to run in the 2016 senatorial elections. J.B. Sebastian ordered the centralization of the drug sale in the Bilibid and required him and other gang leaders for help. In exchange, they will receive protection and special treatment. Ovencio Ablen Jr., who is still with the NBI, will testify that he and Mr. Ragos were longtime friends, and sometime in November and December, together with Mr. Ragos, they delivered the 10 million, 5 million each, the 10 million pesos to the house of Secretary de Lima. Jaime Pacho, he will testify that J.B. Sebastian approached him for help for the senatorial campaign of DOJ Secretary de Lima. He then referred a person to J.B. Sebastian who received drugs and paid for it through bank deposit. The other, we were instructed, or we were told by the committee secretary that the others should not be brought here for order and security purposes, because I believe that with these 6 witnesses, we will have our hands full until the end of the hearing today. That is the opening statement, Your Honors, and may we request that we be allowed to present the video interview of J.B. Sebastian by the Discovery Channel, and this will show how powerful this person is and why his words are law in the new Bilibid prison. Let's watch, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Majority floor.
some clarificatory questions. Are these witnesses willing to testify here today? Are they testifying here today?
Yes, Your Honor. They are here and they will testify.
Okay. Without asking for any immunity or what?
They were not asking for anything, for any favor, and we did not give them, or we did not promise them anything. But their lawyers approached this representation that if it's possible that their clients be offered immunity and they're testifying here before this hearing. I agree that it's very reasonable that they've stated before me that they want to cooperate with the drug war against illegal drugs of President Duterte, and that they believe that this anomalies, this illegal drug trade in the Bilibid should stop, and they wanted to cooperate. So at the very least, I believe that whatever they tell here, I believe that they should be given immunity. So what I did, Your Honors, is that we prepared papers for their immunity only for what they are going to testify before this hearing. In other words, whatever they will testify, we led them to believe that whatever they testify here, that could not be used against them. So I appeal to the honorable members of the committee that these witnesses be given immunity, and with the endorsement and recommendation of the chairman of the Committee on Justice and the approval of by the Speaker, I believe that the same should first be issued and
Precisely,
approved by this
Mr.
committee.
Chairman, I asked that question because as the chairman of the Committee on Rules, we have the law, Republic Act 6981, which provides the mechanism as to how these people will avail of the Witness Protection Act or the benefits of that act. Now, if that is the case and their testimony will be based on the grant of such immunity, we have to dispose that matter first because it has to be approved by the Speaker. We saw in what happened in the Senate where a hearing there, they presented a witness, and after the hearing, the chairman or the former chairman of that committee then asked the Senate President for acceptance into the or inclusion into the witness protection program of the government, but the Senate President denied the request. So I suggest, Mr. Chairman, that we do it properly. If there is such a formal manifestation that they need such immunity, then this body should now vote whether to recommend to the Speaker the grant of such immunity under Section 4 of the Republic Act 6981. And I'll read. It says there in Section 4 of the law, witness in legislative investigations. In case of legislative investigations in aid of legislation, a witness with his express consent may be admitted into the program upon the recommendation of the legislative committee where his testimony is needed, when in its judgment there is pressing necessity therefore, provided that such recommendation is approved by the President of the Senate or the Speaker of the House of the Representatives, as the case may be. So in this instance, we have to dispose of that matter first, because otherwise all of this alleged testimony may not come into play. So are you now formally asking the committee for the grant of such immunity,
Mr. Chairman, I fully agree with the Majority Floor Leader, and may we ask that the Majority Floor Leader move that these witnesses here, the inmates, be given immunity before this the hearing of this committee.
Chairman, since we were furnished last night, I was furnished by the Committee on Justice the copies of these affidavits, although they're still affidavits, and as we know, affidavits are hearsay until they are testified into by the person with cross-examination. So I think the extension or the grant of such immunity to them is necessary. So I move that the committee recommends to the Speaker that these witnesses will be afforded the protection under Section 4 of Republic Act 6981.
Mr. Chair.
Thank
you,
before we vote,
maybe. Just before the Vice Chair, Congressman Roque raises his hand first.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just for the record, I would like to mention the names of individuals who should be given testimonial immunity. Jovencio Ablen, Rafael Ragos, Joel Capones, Jaime Pacho, Herbert Culanco. I think those are the 6 individuals testifying today.
You only mentioned 5.
Okay, Ragos, Culanco, Magleo, Martinez, Ablen, and Pacho are 6 testifying
6,
today.
do you confirm this, Secretary? These
Yes, Mr.
6
Chairman.
individuals. Okay, Vice Chairman Liachon.
Yes, just to follow through with the motion of our good Majority Floor Leader. Given the names of those applying for immunity, may we know also from the good Secretary the extent of the testimony? Are they all inmates? Because
No, Your Honor. Only 4 of them are inmates.
And the other...
and the 2, Ragos and Ablen, are still with the NBI.
okay. Are they also testifying now, Mr. Secretary?
We are planning to present the 6. The others, because I believe that we will lack time, Your Honor. They were left at their detention cells.
With that particularity, Mr. Chair, I would like to join the motion of the good Majority Floor Leader.
There is a motion and a second, but before we dispose of this issue, Your Honor.
Yeah, Kong Teves. Clarificatory question lang. Does immunity equate to witness protection also? Because I think other than immunity, they will also need the witness protection program if they wish to avail.
That is...
That's why I'm clarifying if it's by them availing of the immunity, does it equate to also them having the avail of the witness WPP right away?
That is the prerogative of the Secretary of Justice. We have different immunities, and WPP is a program under the Department of Justice, and they have the mandate to likewise also admit any witness into the WPP. So my question is, in fact, I'd like to ask Secretary Aguirre, have they not been admitted into your program, or are you contemplating on admitting them into your program?
For the information of Your Honors, they have all, the 6 have all been admitted to the Witness Protection Program of the Department of Justice.
So I think that is a more stronger protection that can be afforded to them. In fact, I do not know if we still need a this legislative immunity that we will seek this committee and the speaker. So if they have all been admitted into the program, then I guess that would suffice, Mr. Secretary.
Actually, it is not exactly correct because before this is only a provisional admission. So that the admission will be complete, we need the recommendation of the chairman of this committee and the approval by the speaker.
So your witness, your immunity that you will grant is really subject to this particular provision of the WPP and not the regular witness protection granted under the mandate of DOJ. Anyway,
That's right, Mr. Chairman.
Congressman Salo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just a clarificatory question, Your Honor. Will there be no determination first on the participation or culpability of this particular persons requesting for immunity, in as much as if they appear to be the most guilty at the end of the day, everybody becomes immune, and whom are we going to prosecute or be held accountable later on?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Secretary,
hindi po kinakailangan yon sapagkat dito wala pa po tayong kaso. So wala pa tayong...
As Limo, but may I explain to the gentleman, yung most guilty applies only to discharge of witness, of the accused. Wala pa naman accused dito. This is Witness Protection Act. So, okay na yun.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just clarifying, in as much as if we already grant them blanket immunity, then at the end of the day, the government has already stopped from any filing of a criminal case later on against them.
Now, this is only immunity from their testimonies in this legislative inquiry.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Congressman Garvin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the aforementioned witnesses, Mr. Chairman, I've heard they have already prepared a written statement before they testify into this committee. And under the rules, within 48 hours, they have to furnish the committee secretariat of this said affidavits or written statement, Mr. Chairman. May we know, Mr. Chairman, if members of this committee can be furnished of the affidavits in order to guide us accordingly before we grant this immunity?
Yes, in fact, we requested Secretary Aguirre to prepare sufficient copies for distribution to the members of the committee to save on time.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Chairman, we prepared 100 copies, sufficient copies. So if there's anybody, any members of the committee na wala pang...
I think all the members, Mr. Chairman, should be furnished of that affidavit.
May I know from the COMSEC if
They are now distributing.
they had this, they are now distributing. So,
Mr. Chair, there is a pending motion duly seconded, so can we now proceed on the rolling of the chair so that we can go ahead with the presentation of the witnesses by the Department of Justice?
Second, Your Honor.
thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman, clarification, please.
Deputy Speaker.
As we understood from the explanation of the majority leader, the approval of the immunity by this committee, by the members of this committee, I mean, is only recommendatory. It is the signature of the Speaker that will be the operative act that will make the immunity recommended by this committee operative. Now, if we approve it now, being recommendatory, and we will allow the witnesses to testify now, are we not endangering these witnesses?
It's a chicken and egg matter, you know, because for them to testify, their lawyers, as manifested by the Secretary, is wanting to secure this immunity. And, you know, I believe in the wisdom of the Secretary. They have passed upon all of these affidavits. They have worked on these witnesses, and I would like to think that they did this in accordance with the rules on, and if we apply the rules on regularity, then we can, in the sense of the chair, I think this is a matter that can be dispensed with. After all, we have yet to hear the testimonies, and I am almost certain all of the members of this committee would like to hear what these witnesses would testify on. So anyway, I hear no objection except comments. So there is a motion. It has been seconded. Is there any objection?
Mr. Chairman, my question has not yet been clarified. I need a clarification, and my question should be addressed.
This is recommendatory. We will vote upon whether or not we will recommend to the Speaker the grant of immunity pursuant to Section 4 of the law. And as clarified by the Secretary of Justice, this is a prerequisite to the grant of immunity by the Department of Justice at the proper time. So I hope I have clarified the matter with Your Honor.
In amplification of that, Mr. Chairman, if our approval here is condition precedent to granting of the immunity, will it now be timely for us to ask these witnesses to testify, even prior to the signature of the Speaker?
Mr. Chairman, to pacify the Deputy Speaker, precisely let's vote on it now, then I'll bring it to the Speaker and get the definitive action of the Speaker, whether he will approve it or not. So we have to do this first so that we can get the result.
And we will have to do it first before we proceed with the testimony of the witnesses.
Of course.
That is the clarification I was waiting,
Okay.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you for that. May I recognize also Vice Chair. Sandali muna.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I was about to say this before the Honorable Majority Leader came up with his view. We must remember that one of the principal authors of Resolution 105 is no less than the Speaker himself. I cannot imagine the Speaker denying the request of the lawyers of the witnesses, that the witnesses be immune in whatever testimony they will give before this body. But just the same, since the Majority Leader already assured the Deputy Speaker that he will be going straight to the Speaker and seek the approval, then we may as well now vote on it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that. There has been a motion. It has been duly seconded. There being no objection, this request or letter requesting the Speaker for immunity for the 6 witnesses named by Honorable Roque is hereby approved.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Abu?
For the record, Mr. Chairman, showing fairness and partiality by the committee, na-mention na yung pangalan ni Secretary de Lima. And for the record, Mr. Chairman, the Office of Secretary de Lima received the invitation coming from this committee by Miss Laika Marcelo. So, and on this letter, paragraph 2, it read as, in this regard, we are inviting you as the former Secretary of the Department of Justice to attend the meeting of the committee on September 20 and 21, 2016, 9:30 a.m., Conference Room 3 and 4, Mitra Building, House of Representatives, Quezon City, to shed light on the matter and to assist the committee in its inquiry. So, pinakikita natin yung fairness. Pinakikita ng committee yung fairness. She invokes yung inter-parliamentary courtesy and personally, Mr. Chairman, a manifestation that ang tamang kortesiya na maiibigay natin sa kasamahan natin sa isang co-equal chamber ay magkaroon siya ng lugar kung saan mapapasubalian niya kung anuman ang mga bagay na madidiscuss dito. Yun ang pinakamagandang kortesiya na maiibigay sa kung sino man ang mababanggit na pangalan dito. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that manifestation. So we now proceed. I understand the
Mr. Chair.
Secretary will now make a video presentation. But before that,
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Akop.
May I know if we have granted immunity to the witness that who will testify this morning?
It's being...
Immunity of the 6 witnesses, Your Honor.
For the record, may I read into the record the letter of the Speaker addressed to 6 individuals: Vencio Ablen, Herbert Colanco, Rafael Ragos, Noel Martinez, Rodolfo Magleo, and Jaime Pacho. It says, Dear Mr. Ablen, upon the recommendation of the Committee on Justice pursuant to Section 4 of Republic Act 6981, that your testimony is needed in the legislative investigation in aid of legislation in regard to House Resolution number 105, entitled Resolution Calling for an Investigation in Aid of Legislation and the Proliferation of Drug Syndicates at the National Bilibid Prison, I hereby grant approval for your admission with your express consent to the Witness Protection, Security, and Benefit Act. Under Section 12 of the aforementioned Act, you shall be entitled to immunity from any and all criminal prosecution for the offense or offenses in which your testimony will be given or used, and all the rights and benefits provided under Section 8 of the same law, provided that you shall tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the said legislative investigation. Signed, Pantaleon de Alvarez, the Speaker.
So, having
Mr.
obtained the necessary immunity and approved by the Secretary, the Speaker, no less, then we may now proceed with the presentation of the witness. But before that...
Before we proceed, we were made to watch a 40-minute documentary on what's going on in the New Bilibid. Sino po ba ang sekretaryo nung kinuha itong pelikulang to? Sino po ba ang namamahala ng Department of Justice? It was not mentioned here.
It was Secretary Laila de Lima who was the Secretary of the Justice at that time. It was, I believe, it's during the term of General Pangilinan as the Bucor head. This was General Pangilinan, who was the director of the Bucor from July 20, 2011 to December 21, 2012. So it must have been taken during that time.
Are we to accept now that hindi na po nangyayari ito sa Bilibid under the new administration?
Yes,
that is covered by another presentation.
This will be covered. We would like to request that we be allowed a short presentation by the SAP. It will deal on what is the condition of the new Bilibid prison before the SAP took over on July 20, 2016 and afterwards.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. But before that, may we just request for some reaction from PIDEA? All of these things are happening. Do we have PIDEA here? Sige, can you just please clarify what do you know of all of these things happening in the Bilibid prison?
Your Honor, I'm Director Wilkins Villanueva, the Director of PIDEA NCR. And the video that was presented is, I believe, was happening even before the administration, and I was able to have an acquaintance with General Pangilinan also, and it's a common knowledge in for some of the drug dealers that drug dealing is really happening with the imprimatur of those people inside the Bilibid prison, Your Honor.
So, but you did conduct your own investigation on this, did you?
Yeah, we have also been conducted our own investigation. In fact, during the time the former Director General wants to have a memorandum of agreement with the Bureau of Corrections before, but they did not heed with the request. The memorandum.
Who is they? Who is they?
The one in charge of the Bureau of Corrections, Your Honor.
Who is? Who is this person?
Director Franklin Bukayo, our former Director General Arturo Kakdak asked for a memorandum of agreement with the former Director Franklin Bukayo, and the latter did not heed with the request. The reason behind is that so that we can also conduct some of the Greyhound operation inside the Bilibid prison. But as far as PIDEA is concerned, we cannot conduct any kind of Greyhound operation within the Bilibid prison without the imprimatur of the leadership of the new Bilibid prison.
Okay, so anyway, just wanted to ask those Congressman Gatchalian, please.
Mr. Chair, would like to question the correctness of the TV show that we showed a while ago. In the first portion, we showed Valenzuela City. And alam nyo, nagtataka lang ho ako, no? They met up in a perya, no? It's been almost a decade already that we have a city ordinance na bawal po ang perya sa aming lugar. Kaya ho, I think there's a questionness of the correctiveness of the information inside this show, no? I think it's made by Discovery Channel, no? Syempre po, ayaw po natin masira din ang imahe ng aming lugar, no? At pangalawa, we were just recognized recently for being one of the safest cities in the Philippines. So if we show videos like this that are done by third-party individuals in the US, so Mr. Chair, just would like to put on record na ito po ay nakakasira din ng imahe po ng ating lugar. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The manifestation is noted. Perhaps DOJ can very well clarify this with the producer. Sige, yeah.
Can I have an interjection to the statement of PIDEA? I think it must be noted by the committee na nahirapan yung PIDEA na makapasok dahil kailangan mo magpaalam. And I think it's not only in Bilibid that that's happening, even other jails within the country, whether controlled by BJMP or controlled by the local government, kailangan natin tingnan yung proviso or yung protocol na yan. Dahil kung yung nagko-control ng jail, pinoproteksyon yung negosyo sa loob, of course, mahihirapan yung PIDEA which is in charge of the drug problem, mahirapan makapasok. Kung magpaalam ka sa nagpapatakbo, di malinis na.
Yeah, that
Thank
is,
you.
those are the facts that we're trying to establish so that we can propose remedial measures or even executive or administrative regulations. So the committee takes note of that.
Mr. Chair. Also likewise, the operations in the seaports as discussed, the Manila seaports, no, I just would like to clarify because I used to operate the North Harbor, so it's outside the seaports of the city of Manila. So may I just clarify and manifest that the problems besetting drugs and yung criminalities is outside of the Manila North Harbor seaports. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We will probably deal with that especially through the committee of Congressman Ace Barbers, because that is more drug related than anything. Our concern now is New Bilibid Prison, so I enjoin the members to just limit ourselves to issues pertaining to this drug proliferation of drug syndicates in the New Bilibid Prison. So, but we take note of that. We will refer that appropriately.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed for my manifestation?
Congressman Bravo.
After watching the show shown by Secretary Aguirre, I can't help but to tender my manifestation. In this war against drug, we must ensure that one of the casualties is not the rule of law. Due process exists not only to protect the innocent. Due process can help guarantee that those truly responsible for perpetuating and protecting the drug trade are convicted and imprisoned. But as I've seen, what is really, as justice is concerned, what is really convicted and imprisoned? Let us consider the rule of law as a weapon, not a hurdle in the war against drugs. Let us conduct this hearing mindful of our ultimate goals, that the pursuit of justice, the protection of our people should be.